Hello, everybody. My name is Average Election Enjoyer. Today is August 5th of 2026, and I am going to be going over a couple of ballot measures that were on the ballot. I'm sure a lot of you have seen what happened there were some very important primaries. The biggest one in Michigan, where you saw Abdul Al-Said defeat um, his more moderate opponent, Haley Stevens. More. So it was an interesting progressive versus establishment matchup that we saw with progressives winning out. But I am going to be making a video on those further down the line because I'm sure you've seen a million videos on those being put out. But what I think is more interesting are two uh, ballot measures that we saw coming out of Missouri and out of Kansas. And these ballot measures, as you're about to see, are very controversial. Um, Missouri, I would say, is a direct attack on democracy, and Kansas is just a show of political partisan games, and both of them were rightly annihilated by the voting bases there. So for Missouri voting on a proposal to raise the threshold to pass future state constitutional amendments by statewide ballot measure. Instead of it relying on just pure majoritarian rule, so 50 plus 1, to pass an amendment, it would instead go to needing a majority of support in each congressional district, which means that in each congressional district, they would need to get a majority in order to pass a statewide referendum. And given the fact that it's a not only a Republican state, but there are a couple of packed Democratic districts, you will likely never see a approval in every single um, district. It would be difficult to have a referendum that has like any importance uh, to pass every single have a majority in every congressional district. This would have basically eliminated um, ballot measures as a practical means of uh, making change in the government without going through the state legislature. So this was basically an attempt by the state legislature to prevent the population from making any changes they don't like, from allowing the people to govern. This is an attempt to strip that away from the people, and the people of Missouri responded. No one in every county across the entire state. Yes didn't even it barely cracked 40% in one county. You can see the average of yes would probably be in the high 20s of approval across these counties. Let's see, I can, it's not none of them were particularly close. Republicans and Democrats, of course, came together in a state like Missouri to strike down this undemocratic um, proposal from the state legislature in an attempt to grab changing power from the people. I just thought some of the more funny results, if we could find, um, this was the 10,000 yeses out of Jefferson County. It's kind of impressive, but there are some larger counties like 18,000 to not even 5,000, 39,000 to 7,000. So there's several, especially in the more urban areas where you see just absolute blowouts um, against this undemocratic ballot measure here, and it rightfully got annihilated. But besides that, it is nice to see something bipartisan for a change. You don't see a lot of that in today's politics, so it's nice to see the people come together to fight back against a corrupt state legislator, um, at least in terms of this bill, what they're trying to pass on to the people. Um, Very upsetting that you're seeing this sort of stuff in today's politics, but that is beyond the scope of my channel here, where I mainly look at results. But I guess that's kind of what this video is more about, is that we're seeing these very undemocratic um, ballot measures. This is a nonpartisan channel, as I have maintained, but I guess I could say this is not a this should be a bipartisan slash nonpartisan issue. Um, of seeing amendments like these, or not amendments, but ballot measures like these coming up and being voted on, and with state legislators really trying to control and prevent um, at the population. We live in a democracy, right? So if you are in a state legislator and you are passing, or if you're trying to get these ballot measures passed with the attempt to silence dissent from the people who you are working for, you know, politicians should work for the people. That's what they got elected to do. So they should be working for the people instead of working against the people. Um, and again, just happy that the people saw through it and absolutely smited it. Um, so that was pretty good news there. This is more of a partisan issue, so I can't talk as extensively on this. This is the Kansas Amendment 1 election results, and this is for the state Supreme Court in regards to that. So the state Supreme Court in Kansas, even though it's a Republican state, is in fact more of a liberal court. They tend to vote for more liberal issues, and the state legislator was the Republican state legislators were not a fan of that. So they are seeking to overhaul the way Kansas Supreme Court justices are selected. And basically, the way it works is that the justices will be selected via six statewide elections to 6-year terms. Instead of being appointed by the governor being a Democrat in Kansas here. Basically, they're trying to prevent the Democratic governor from putting in their political appointees. Now, electing judges is not something new. It's way more common outside of the United States. I believe in Mexico, their Supreme Court justices and other levels are elected by the people. So it's not an uncommon thing. It's just the partisan gamesmanship is, a lot of people's problems with it, and you can see obviously. This map does in fact look a little more realistic, more partisan than last map. Of course, this is just completely. I mean, the rural counties were voting just as against this amendment as even some of the cities. Some of these more rural districts are even more against this ballot than some of the more urban areas, which is pretty funny. Something you wouldn't see in a partisan election in Missouri. This is more similar to it, where you see these more populated counties are voting no much more versus rural Kansas, which was voting yes at a higher rate. So this is much more of a partisan issue. However, 61% of Kansans saw through the political gamesmanship that you were sort of seeing in this referendum or measures what they're saying here. You can see the urban areas are, so this is much more partisan map, but you see the majority of you know this is a map that if Democrats still had any hold within rural or more moderate, you see probably a lot of ancestral Dems here, people who were Democrats until 2016 probably voted against this because they have a Democratic governor. There are in a state like Kansas and a state like Kentucky, which also has a Democratic governor, they rely on ancestral Democrats, people who are three-time Trump voters, but will still really appreciate having a Democratic governor or having more liberal Supreme Court justices. They might support some more left-leaning. They might support more left-leaning opinions. They just are going to vote conservative on a national level and for Senate and stuff like that. So that's something interesting to note in this map here. you could sort of see how that played out. Some people who may not have always been Republican uh, voting, uh, that's probably where a lot of these more rural no's are coming from. People who might have voted for a Democrat in their lives, um, might have voted for, as I said, the Democratic governor who's currently in office. So I just thought these two results, these two, I would say, this one especially, but this one too, fairly undemocratic measures that were both struck down by the people. Again, this is not meant in any sort of partisan way. This is just merely looking at what are objectively undemocratic measures and them getting taken down um, by the voters here in these two states. So well done to the residents of Missouri and Kansas for seeing through the measures that were put your way by your state legislators. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.